Well, let's look at the considerable amount of news that emanated from the NHL this week, and we begin our reports with a story that had everyone's attention as the week began, and that was a break-in at the Hockey Hall of Fame located on the Canadian National Exhibition Grounds in Toronto on the weekend. Early Saturday morning, thieves somehow circumvented the building's alarm system. Dick Beddoes of the Toronto Globe and Mail had some comments that we thought we'd pass along to you about this incident. Beddoes wrote, "There are no more comical thieves in the world today than those chaps who periodically heist hardware from the Hockey Hall of Fame. The men for women's of mystery struck again last weekend, snatching the Conn Smythe Trophy, the William Masterton Trophy, and the Stanley Cup, then withdrawing into a state of namelessness as thick as the fogs of Newfoundland." Beddoes continues, "Is the stone of scones safe? Are the crown jewels locked up? Quick, put a 24-hour guard on the logging chain Mayor Dennison wears as his great seal of office. It's apparent that the security at Hockey's Museum of Muscle down here in Toronto's lakefront is as relaxed as Old Greenback Downs. You know how relaxed the gumshoes are at Old Greenback. The surveillance at the barns is so strict that alleged strangers walked in on October 30th and drugged 4 horses without being nabbed. The phantom dopers remain at large, laughing. The men or women of mystery now lead the Hall of Fame 2-1. 2 thefts unsolved to 1 solved. Morris Lefty Reed, caretaker of the hall, obviously needs a stronger bench or preferably a better burglar alarm. Our burglar alarm system is so sensitive, Mr. Reed insists, that a mouse has set it off." As a police officer in the 1970s, I went to my share of alarms that were set off by mice, spiders, and other little critters. Lefty's not wrong there, but they're supposed to go off when the big guys go in to take the goods. Beddoes writes that the lice got loose in April of 1969 and collected a nice lot of trinkets from the hall that time. The Hart Trophy, the Calder Trophy, and once again the Stanley Cup. These were subsequently recovered after a police stooge tipped the detectives that the trophies were being used to decorate a shack in southern Etobicoke. This summer, a Stanley Cup collar was lifted. That is, one of the bands below the basin in which has the names of all the cup winners inscribed on it. Well, that collar was out there somewhere. It was taken. It was never returned. And they have no idea. It might even be around some dog's neck somewhere. Beddoes asked the obvious question, what would anyone do at a Stanley Cup anyhow? There would be gossip if suddenly the chalice appeared in your rec room. I suppose you could hold it for ransom on the outlandish belief that it might be exchanged for release of prisoners somewhere. I guess you might boil it down and get a fine mess of pewter worth about $48.67 at the nearest pawn shop. Beddoes concludes his comments on the theft of the cup by saying, "I'd use it as a cuspidor for myself, or maybe a bird bath in the right seasons. It's a bit of a cumbersome thing for a paperweight, too awkward to be a doorstopper. It makes a pretty good albatross, though, for hanging around a coach's neck." Now, the rest of the hockey world was joking that with the cup being stolen, maybe it was taken by the Maple Leafs hockey team, knowing full well their chances of obtaining the Stanley Cup in the near future, if ever again as it turned out, were very, very slim.